Hi, and welcome back to Dirty Bernie's Garage. This is going to be video 2 of the Billy Goat lawn and leaf vacuum. My little project here that I don't know why I have, but anyway. On this video, I hope to hear this thing run. So we got a couple things we got to do to this thing in order for that to happen. First off, any of these small engines, you're gonna have 3 components it takes in order to get one of these engines to run. You're gonna need your fuel, you're gonna need your compression, and you're gonna need your spark. This particular engine is missing 2 of those options. It's been sitting for many, many years. I said 10 years. I'm probably being very generous. It's probably closer to 15 to 20. So the carburetor is plugged up, the gas tank's full of garbage and everything. We're gonna make this thing run on life support, meaning carburetor spray. We'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, our main issue right now is I have no spark. And I'm gonna show you that real quick. This engine has the old breaker points and ignition, points and condenser style ignition. It has no spark whatsoever. You're gonna notice here's your spark plug. I got it just sitting on top of the muffler. Here's the tip there. And when pulled, we have absolutely nothing. So we're gonna show you a little tip here as far as that goes in a minute. So stay tuned and we'll be back in a second. Yeah, right. So now comes the time when we get to take this thing apart finally and get going on this. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this pull cover off of here so we can get at some of the ignition system. Let me take a couple bolts. I finally found my little magnetic tray thing too. I only bought it about a year ago. It's been hanging on the wall in the other garage. Doing a great job, you know. So. Alrighty. Get this out of here. And we have a very dusty, grimy ignition system there. It's kind of hard to tell. This is a points ignition. I already had this off once, to be honest with you. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of this coil right here. What do we got? 5/16. Yep. All right, we'll go ahead and get rid of that real quick. Not gonna bother cleaning this up or anything right now. This, like I said, this is just a quick little run. We just want to confirm that this engine actually will run. I'm not concerned with cleanliness or anything right now. Well, I will explain that in a little bit. But all right, you're gonna have your points and condenser are actually under the flywheel here. This little cavity that they're in and everything. It's gonna have one wire that runs up to the coil, and then there's a second wire that runs over to the kill switch. That's all operated off the condenser of the points. So what we're gonna do here Give it a little snip. That's called a points delete. Because we got better plans for this one. Yeah, meet our new coil. It's a Briggs & Stratton Magnetron. This replaced the points system in these engines. This engine probably was never introduced with this coil, simply because if I know what I'm talking about, this engine was actually phased out before this system came out. But the horizontal shafted version of this engine went for many, many years. So this is the one we're going to be using. I just got to sand the flywheel down real quick, and we're going to go ahead and set this thing on there. So just give me a minute. All right, so we have a... I went ahead and cleaned the contacts on the new coil up. Notice right here, this is the, it's called the eye. And then you got your two things. This is just your standard Briggs & Stratton Magnetron coil. This particular coil's, I don't know, 80s, 90s, something like that. It's an old original. You could buy this coil off of Amazon probably for about $25, but we're not doing that. When I see these coils, especially on the 5-horse, this coil's all by itself. So when I see one at the scrapyard, I go ahead and pull it. And you know, I actually only have about 4 or 5 of these coils, but we got some anyway. Anyway, you probably can't read it on the top here. It says this side out. Rule of thumb with a magnetron coil. Down here, this is your ground wire that's going to ground to the thing. Your ground wire always goes on the bottom. That's the easiest way to actually remember it. Because if you put this coil on upside down, of course it will not spark. But let's go ahead. Like I said, I'm not going to hook this ground wire up right now. We're going to do that at a later date. But it would normally hook up just like the other ones that I showed you. Okay. Alright, so we got them in a couple threads. I'm going to go ahead and take the little card trick that I showed on that last mower. Slide that in between the coil and the thing. Pull your magnet up. There we go. Go ahead and snug your bolts down. Did put a product called Never Sees on these threads for these coil bolts. That's just habit for me living up in New England all my life. They like to corrode. So I went ahead and put that on there, but that coil job is complete. I'm gonna go ahead and put this pull cover back on. We're gonna see if we got spark now, which we should. Another thing with these, like I said, I had this pull cover off already once, but you always want to check, especially as a unit like this, you know, where it's been sitting and everything. Before you fire it, you always want to check it and make sure that there's no mouse nest in here, because that's a great way to start a fire. This particular engine won't be running long enough to actually ignite anyway, but still, I mean, it's not a good idea to have them in there, so. And then, of course, you're gonna fight me, right? There it goes. Alright, go ahead and snug them up. Alright, I just want to make sure that ground wire wasn't pinched anywhere, because if it was, that would actually ground it out and we wouldn't have any spark. And that would kind of defeat the whole purpose. So yeah, that's it. There's your whole electronic ignition swap right there. I'll go in now on this about older engines in a little bit here. There's more to it. But as far as this one goes, that's all it's going to take. Go ahead and do this real quick so you can. There we have it. Exactly what I like to say. So you're going to watch your plug now. And hopefully you can see that. We got a nice juicy spark now. So, give me a second here and we're going to spray this thing and we're going to actually hear it fire off. All right. Let's see if this thing's got to tell us. Hopefully she'll spark off a little bit anyway. Yep. Great time to be just about out of carburetor cleaner. Okay, now we're going to give her a nice drink of Marvel Mystery Oil. We don't want to start it on this, but I want to get it down into the cylinder and valve. This stuff is actually flammable. It will start off this, but I don't want it to start off of this. I just want to get a nice little drink in there. There, now we got it. Alrighty. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and close out this video. I hope you enjoyed this. I feel much better with my purchase now. We have a very, very sound running engine here. Not only that, but for me, it brought back a lot of memories. My very first riding lawnmower I ever owned had the same engine on it. I was kind of scrawny as a kid, probably 9-10 years old. Guy gave me a riding mower, had this engine. It wasn't running and everything. I remember very well. I had to push that thing home about a mile. It had no spark. Back then we didn't have electronic ignition and everything, so I had to play games with points and everything. I did end up getting it running. Never mowed a blade of grass with it, but it, I had cruise up and down the road. I'm all cool and everything, thinking I'm on top of the world and everything. But matter of fact, the last engine, one of these that I worked on, my good friend Paul Lombardo gave me a wood chipper one time. We're going back, I don't know, well, it's over 20 years anyway, but he gave me that thing. I got it going and had fun with it. As far as Kentucky goes, this is the first right here. These engines just aren't around anymore. And I'm not saying that it's a rare, valuable engine or anything, because it's really not. It's just, like I said, it's more memories to me. But I feel much better about buying this thing now that I've heard it run. Anyway, there was actually a point to this video, which I'm going to get to now. So we had the spark, had it running off a carburetor cleaner. The carburetor cleaner, that's a lot stronger than gasoline. So any carbon in this thing, that's going to start loosening that carbon up. And then, after that, you'll notice I had it running, a minute, something like that. Just long enough, I got the valves warmed up, the piston warmed up and everything, and I dumped that mystery oil in there. What that's going to do, we're not going to see this engine again till probably sometime over the winter. But while this engine's sitting in slumber, that oil is going to be working. That's going to start breaking up our carbon. There is guaranteed there's going to be carbon in this engine. So I plan on, I'm going to be doing a head gasket. I'm going to do a complete valve job on this thing, rebuild the carburetor, and all that. I'm going to do all that in one video. But right now, while this engine sits waiting for that mystery oil will be in there working on it. It's going to loosen up any carbon that's in there. There's carbon that I can't get to around the ring lands of the piston and whatnot. So that oil is going to be in there working as this thing sits. So that's where we're going to go with this one. I also did find a tag on this with the model number, so I can actually look for a bag for it. Sometimes, actually, Billy Goat still makes these machines. obviously is a little different than this one, but the company is still in business. So chances are that I can still get a bag for this thing. And a lot of times what goes on like eBay or Amazon, people part machines like this out. So I may get lucky and find somebody that's parting something out and get a bag on the cheap. Let's just hope. But anyway, as far as the rest of it goes, I hope you enjoyed this video, and throw me some comments if you like, and you know, all this nonsense, and we'll see you at some point over the winter with this one. Speaking of winter, we're getting close to it. The weather's starting to cool down around here. I'm gonna be taking probably a week or so off. I gotta get this garage ready for winter. I had a nice kerosene heater given to me. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna put a new wick in it and some things like that. I've got to do a little work around the garage and get it ready. If you want to see videos on that, I'm happy to share them. But that's where we're at right now. So have a great night and enjoy. Thank you very much.